everything from 1969 has been God's time. I've got nothing to do with it other than just uh, keeping my end of the deal, saying his name every day and doing what I can for my fellow man. When I made that promise, I said inmate because I never thought I was getting out of prison.
Wow.
And I said my fellow inmate. And I remember when I went to board, the parole board, Mad Dog Madden, I just give a name, I think. And he said, Danny, we're tired of messing with you. Bring us back a life sentence. Like we're letting you out, but bring us back a life. In other words, they had no even hope of me staying out. I couldn't. And it was kind of like like humiliating, like talking about my mother or something. I don't know. It was just like you're hopeless. And
Wow.
what
Did you believe it? Did you believe them when they said that to you?
I think it made me mad, and I was so afraid anyway, because this had been my pattern of going back, forth, and I thank God I'd gotten into a 12-step program that I'd known since I was 15. I'd known about it as I was 15 years old, and I just tried to do that, and I tried to help people however I could. However, it didn't matter. I was taking out the trash. My mom's neighborhood. I was taking out people's trash. Just to help somebody. I didn't know how. I'd robbed everybody in that neighborhood. I mean, broke into everybody's garage, and all of a sudden I'm Johnny Do-Good.
Did you have a hard time just coming to grips with that? Suddenly you've gone 180 degrees down the.
You know what? I think people had a hard time. I remember the first time I walked up to a lady, she was pulling out her trash can because in 1969 they didn't have those the barrel kind of trash cans that you roll. You just put everything in a tub and drug it out. And I remember when she was pulling out her trash can, I walked up to her to help her, and she goes, "No me robas, Danny." Like, don't rob me, Danny. I just shut up. Got mad, and I pulled her trash can out, and I walked to the back of her yard to get her other one, and she never took her eyes off me. I could feel them because I knew that she felt I was going to break for her garage and steal something, and I brought out her trash can, and I could see the look of dismay, like, okay, what's he planning now,
Mm-hmm.
And
but you were in one of the great crime thrillers ever made, which is Michael Mann's Heat. And I mean, you're working with Pacino and Robert De Niro, part of that crew. No one can say the word Waingro without thinking about your performance. I mean, did you ever have to pinch yourself? Like suddenly you're working with De Niro and Pacino. I mean, the stars of Godfather and Godfather 2 were right there.
When I got on Heat, that really solidified me as, wow, okay, this guy's an actor.
And you were great in that movie too.
There's still people in Hollywood that just want to, oh, he's a thug, he's a prisoner again. I think it's funny, it's like, don't spend your time on me, man. You know what I mean? And with De Niro is like this guy that is like unbelievable, he's a gentleman, and yet he's got a side to him that you really don't want to cross, when we were doing this scene, I was doing this scene with him, and before we went into makeup, I was talking, and he said, how do you want to do this, Dan? And I said, I don't know, Bob. What do you think, Bob? I called him Bob. He says, I think you already did. He kind of ran me through that death scene, and I did it just the way he said. And it became one of the iconic death scenes of that era. And
absolutely. Maybe ever.
It's the only movie, the only death scene my daughter can't watch. It's the only one she can't. I said, honey, what's wrong? And she was crying. She said, Dad, that's the way you lived. That's the way you were supposed to end up. I don't want to see that. She really surprised me, and I guess it was, and by the grace of God, I'm still here.
Like John Frankenheimer, who's a favorite film director of mine. You were in Reindeer Games, and Frankenheimer, he's old school Hollywood, larger than life character in the 60s. He made things like 7 Days in May and Seconds and
Manchurian Candidate.
Manchurian Candidate, one of the great movies of all time.
I had worked with John Frankenheimer before. I worked with him on a movie with Samuel Jackson, and it was called Against the Wall.
Yeah, that was for HBO, right?
It was
fantastic movie.
And I walked in. I'd studied really hard for this because, John Franken. I studied really hard. I walked in. I sat down, and he asked me. He didn't even look at me. He just looked, and he said, "You really want to do this?" Yeah, yes, sir. Okay. All right. And then that's good. And I said, wait, hey, whoa, wait a minute. Can I read something? And he says, no, it's fine. And so jokingly, I just said, look, I don't want it to be just a pretty face, and he looked up at me, right? And then he said, oh, okay, do the line. So I did the little lines that I had. All right, fine. And then dismissed me, right? Because he's a real gruff old man, right?
Yeah.
And he yells, but so on set one night, we're working nights in Tennessee, somewhere, right? And we're in a prison that's haunted, and I'm standing there, and I'm standing next to Frankenheimer. I said, what's your trip, John? You know what I mean? And he said, when I had 30 days sober, I heard you talk.
Wow.
And I said, really? And I said, yeah. You're all right. And then he walked away.
Wow.
I was doing a Comic-Con in England. Now that picture, this guy came up and said, hey, will you sign my back? I said, what? He says, yeah. And he turned around. He had that picture tattooed on his entire back. And I thought, wow, Mexicans get La Virgen de Guadalupe. English get machete. I was like, I signed his back. And then he says, I got 4 of my mates will be here tomorrow. And they had that tattooed on their back. I said, God, what an iconic figure, man. I sure hope you like that movie. Most of the kids that I knew that went to the Boys and Girls Club didn't get in trouble because they were being watched after school. Most of the kids that played sports, went to Pop Warner, went to Little League, didn't get in trouble because they were doing something other than just hanging out with the older kids on the corner. And so I the guys coming out of prison that start going to a 12-step program have a better chance of staying out than the guys just hanging on the corner. In other words, it's like staying occupied is one of the most important things for a young person or an old person to do, because we have a switch in our mind that's out to get us if we're not careful, especially if you have an addictive personality. And that switch will go on, and all of a sudden you find yourself with bad influences around you. So I think the good Lord gave me this platform. When you talk to kids, first you have to get their attention. It's impossible because they don't have any. And second, you got to keep it, which is impossible because they don't have any. Third, you have to show them you're cool, which is if you're 10 years older than them, you lost your cool status, and then you deliver your message. Well, the message isn't heard because of the first three. The good Lord's given me this platform of being an actor. When I walk onto a campus or a juvenile hall or a prison, I've got everybody's attention. Not Danny Trejo, but the guy from Spy Kids, the guy from Heat, the guy from Desperado. If you're Mexican, the guy from Blood In, Blood Out. I mean, it's that simple. Boom. They want to hear what that guy has to say. So I thank God for that platform. And teachers have told me, you know what? These kids are listening. I spoke up in Oxnard, someplace, some school, and where they send all the kids like me, you know, the last
alternative school, algo
a
camp.
last ditch effort, you know, and
yeah.
I said, hey, anybody that the teacher says improves can come down to my restaurant in LA and I'll treat their family. There's about 5 families came down, and
Wow.
they showed me their card, you know, their report card, and it was like I went to the bathroom. I said a prayer, Lord, thank you, just thank you, you know, just for giving me that chance to just, you know, how my son got better. Man, I mean, it's like it's heavy stuff.